Buenos dias. Today's lesson for Spanish 1010 at Virginia College is about indirect object pronouns. We've already covered subject pronouns, reflexive pronouns, and direct object pronouns. Indirect object pronouns are another kind of pronoun. They exist in English just the same way they do in Spanish, but we don't really think about what we call it when we speak our native language. An indirect object is the thing in a sentence that answers the question to what, to whom, or at what, at whom. It's not something that you think about when you're just having an everyday conversation, but you'll need to know the difference in order to use indirect object pronouns correctly in Spanish. The indirect object pronouns that you'll need to know for the lessons in this instruction are me, te, le, nos, and les. I know that these are familiar to you because some of them are the same as the reflexive pronouns, but they're used differently. Me would be used like me in English, te like you, le like him or her, nos like us, and les like them. Again, be sure not to confuse these with subject pronouns. You can't use te if you want to say, you are handsome. That's the subject pronoun tú. Let's take a look at some examples in English to give you an idea of what an indirect object pronoun is. I read the book to her. As we learned last week for direct object pronouns, the book is the direct object because it's what I read. To her is the indirect object because it is to whom I read the book. She gives the car to them. The car is the direct object because it's what she gives. To them is the indirect object because it is to whom she gives the car. We talk to you. In this case, you or to you is going to be the indirect object because you is who we talk to. In Spanish, you would replace the direct objects and you would replace the indirect objects and the word to with the indirect object pronoun. But just like the direct object pronoun, it must go before the conjugated verb. Let me give you some examples. I could say, yo leo, I read, el libro, the book, a ella, to her. But if I wanted to use the indirect object pronoun, I would have to rewrite it and say, yo leo el libro. It's a difficult and sometimes confusing construct in Spanish, but for the way that you'll have to use it in this lesson, you'll only need to have to identify what is the indirect object pronoun you would use, and then place it before the verb in the sentence. In this example, ella, she, gives, da, el carro, the car, a ellos. A ellos is the indirect object. You would replace it with les, because it's them. And you would write it like this. Ella les da el carro. Take note that the indirect object pronoun goes directly before the verb, the same way the direct object pronoun does. We talk to you, nosotros hablamos a ti. If you wanted to use an indirect object pronoun, te, you would say, nosotros te hablamos. Be sure to review this information in the notes for the lessons in this week and also in your textbook. And ask your instructor if you have any questions.